Hello crafty friends, it's Jess from jesscrafts.com, and today I just wanted to share a general haul video with you to share some possible tips or tricks and then some things that will be coming up on my channel. So I did purchase some things from Hello Bluebird, from Cherry on Top, from Amazon, from Michael's. There are lots of little tiny hauls, which is pretty normal for me. So the first thing that's probably like the least interesting, but I still wanted to talk about, was I got a new Brother ScanNCut mat. And some people get frustrated because the mats don't stay sticky very long. However, I usually use yellow painter's tape to hold down my piece of cardstock that's stamped, and so even though the mat won't hold it any longer, and if I were to put it through without this tape, it would easily come up. I was able to keep my mat for about 10 months, got 10 months out of one mat because of using this tape. But I do want to be very clear that that is not what the manufacturer recommends. You're doing that at your own risk. I'm not even saying like you should do that or anything like that, just that I know that several other people have tried the same thing and have that allows them to use their mats longer. So just something to consider, but it's your machine, it's your own decision. But I did eventually get a new mat because the old mat, because came with the kit, it was wrapped around the machine, and so it has a little bump in it, whereas this one is perfectly flat and was shipped perfectly flat, which actually made me quite happy because I was a little bit worried it wouldn't be. The other one was like, there was really very little stick left, and I was worried that even with taping it down and I was having to add more and more tape, that my images weren't going to be cut properly. So the next thing is I have two Copic markers, and this is because I have quite a collection of Copics. I use Copics all the time, but the way that I've built my collection might be a bit odd and probably wouldn't work for everyone, but essentially, when Michael's has a 60% off coupon is when I buy my sketch markers based on their colors. That's not the only way I've ever bought them, and I did start off with a large Chow set, the Copic Chows. But to kind of add in little missing pieces of my collection, I do try to look at what does Michael's have in stock. When you can get a 60% off coupon, it's a pretty good item to use that on if you don't have anything else that you need. I'll also use that for cardstock and things like that. But so when I saw the coupon, I was able to use it twice to pick out two markers, so you won't focus on the colors because they're so high up, but I have YR02 and E74, and the way that I determine what colors I want next is primarily the Sandy Allnock hex chart. Kind of helps me figure out, where would be a good gap in my colors to fill in, but also there is a Copic app. And I will leave a link to it in the video description below, but it helps you to keep track of your markers. So it won't necessarily give you a great idea of what color it is per se, although the colors, the colors are obviously on there, but it doesn't compare them to each other. However, it does tell you what is in your collection. And to me, that has been more useful than having some paper ways of tracking my collection. Even though I have those, I don't always remember them. Like last time I saw a 60% off coupon, it was, in the middle of a work day, and I swung by after work, and having that app made it possible. So I just figured I'd share that tip and that app if that is helpful to you. Then there's this newer stamp company called Hello Bluebird. They're brand new to me, but I know that they've had a few releases before. And I decided to try them out because they have these really cute little critters, and you know me, I love critters, but I also thought they would go really well and make some, they would be cute little focal points on cards to donate. But to go with them, since the sentiments in the set were, "It's your day, go wild," and "Wild About You," neither one of those particularly suited the cards that I make most of the time, so it's not that I'll never use them, but just that, from donate the cards, I want the more general sentiments. So I decided to pick up this stamp set, also from Hello Bluebird, called Spring Script. This is Jungle Littles. And this one just has some large script fonts, which I always really enjoy, mixed in with the bold print fonts. And it can make a couple sentiments that I could see myself using quite a bit, and I'm always a sucker for a really pretty hello. So yeah, that's why I picked up that one. Next up, I got at least one specific request, but to do the new Doodlebug 6x6 Down on the Farm paper pad. So I bought the paper pad and the mini icon stickers. I had considered purchasing maybe some additional things, but I think this will work. The stickers, the mini icons, the sheets are actually different this time. That's not always true, so you want to check that with each collection to see if you're getting more diversity or not. So we'll see how I wind up using the stickers. But then when I did get the paper pad, I noticed that Doodlebug made some changes. So you still get 24 sheets, double-sided, but there are no cut-apart sentiments. There's just these cut-aparts. So these seem kind of small. If it's 6x6, these are 2 by 1 1.5. Yeah, 1.5. There would be 2 by 1.5. And they used to be a little bit bigger than that. So I'm a little bit concerned that these aren't going to really hold their weight on a card. So I'm not sure how that's going to go, but they're really, really, really cute. And I was thinking like the ideal thing would have been to buy just this sheet from the collection in 12 by 12. But a lot of places that can really increase your shipping cost to buy a 12 by 12 piece of paper. So if you can get it locally, I would certainly recommend mixing one 12 by 12 large sheet of these cut into pieces with the 6x6 paper pad to make a lot of really cute cards. Because if these were scaled up to the 12 by 12 size, they would be, you know, double the size 4 by 3. And in that case, I think that you could, you know, stamp some sentiments along with them, and I think I'll enjoy this anyway, but just that scale might also be interesting to use. I'm also thinking, because there are very few sentiments, like most of these don't have a sentiment on it, and the ones that do are hugs and kisses and love you, I don't really see myself using those. The Utterly Awesome's great, definitely use that, but with that in mind, I think I'll probably have to pull in a sentiment set of some sort, whether it's a general sentiment stamp set or it's a farm themed to, you know, do some more pun stuff with it. But there's just a basic flip through. I'll share more when I do the 6x6 paper pad tutorial. So, and then the final things that I got were a lot more photo props. I've been trying to be better about taking interesting, pretty photography of my cards, since that's kind of like the standard now. And it's fun, for sure. And I've had some things before, but I've also listened to some tips lately, and I wanted to share a little, you know, a couple things I do, because I know that some people kind of wonder, like, how do these people achieve, you know, nice photography? And I am not by any means pretending mine is like super nice, but I'll share what I know. So at first I was like, there's no way these are all fake flowers that people are using, but you know, they generally are. And they actually, like, I personally am not a huge fan of the look of fake flowers, but I find that when they're only in a little tiny bit, they look great. And you can certainly go with the fake flower look, and that's definitely the economical choice. So you know, Michael's has a lot of spring stuff right now. Easter stuff was on sale, and I was able to pick up some stuff and use a coupon and everything. And I just kind of try to add to my collection. Like, you know, do I have any dark blue? I hadn't at the time, wrote that down. I have light pink flowers, but I wanted some dark pink flowers, etc., etc. So I'll buy a large bush like this, but if you try to put that in your card photo, like, I mean, it's huge. So what I do is, once I buy the large bush, I use the same wire snips that I use for my dies, and I just cut off the little branches or stems, and each of these stems is usually a much more reasonable size, and you can use it to lay across your card much better. In fact, I wish I had a card here, but I have these. I just showed you the stamp set, the Hello Bluebird ones I'm working on coloring. And as you can see, the scale is going to be a lot better. Now, that's not very well arranged, of course, but just wanted to kind of show you that that's going to be much more reasonable than trying to, say, throw something like this down next to it. And I found that what's kind of nice is you wind up getting a lot of different sprigs of these. And so I just kind of picked up some little glass vases and used, put these in the glass vases, and they can decorate my craft room until I'm ready to use them as photo props. So you don't have to feel like, you have all these fake flowers around for no purpose. If you like the look, you can kind of have a dual purpose with them. I don't know, it's just a thought. And I found this, which I thought was really cool, to, kind of be the base surface. I use a wood block like constantly, or a wood disc. So I wanted to try to mix it up and have some different backgrounds too. So that's available right now at Michael's. I see a lot of people use these chargers. This is like huge. I don't even know if I can zoom out enough. There you go. And these are super cheap, like $2. So you can get fake flowers for $1 or $2 a piece. Sometimes, obviously, they can definitely go way more than that. But, you could pick up something simple like this and some cheap flowers and really jazz up your photos on a budget. I will also say my other tips are to always use a tripod. I always photograph with a tripod, and because if I find that if I try to photograph holding it, I'm just too shaky personally. Maybe you have a really steady hand and then you're fine. But just to, if you find that, but what is the real reason I do that is because you can leave the lens open longer, and you don't have to really understand how to have it, to use a fancy camera or anything like that. You just look for what on your camera is the setting that leaves the lens open longer while taking a photo. It will let more light in and take advantage of the natural sunlight that you have. And photographing on, sorry, I was going to say something about a dark background, but it's really kind of too, because I've also gotten recently some more lighter backgrounds. I picked like these signs that are always on sale at Michael's, different ones, just get a blank one, which makes them even cheaper. And then these are great to lay on top, because at first it looks like, oh my gosh, it's so kind of cheesy looking, but you got to remember, and I'll kind of show you this, but like once you have laid this all down, and it looks like junk when you're, zoomed out like this, but, because you can see all the stuff going around on my desk and everything like that, but then you're going to zoom all the way in, and you're going to lose all that extra stuff, and it's just going to look a lot nicer. You're not going to see the curved edges of this or anything like that. You just need it to be large enough for a card. So anyway, I hope that some of those tips throughout the video and reasoning behind why and when and where I buy things were helpful to you. And I did want to let you know that the Down on the Farm collection is coming. I'm going to share a project with Hello Bluebird stamps eventually as well. And of course, I'll use my Copic markers to continue to color, just like I'll use my ScanNCut mat to continue to cut out my images instead of purchasing dies, to save myself some money there. All right, so thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you are interested in more crafting tutorials, be sure to subscribe to my channel. Have an awesome day. Bye.